we've been doing this homestead thing now for 2 years ish, and we have failed so many times that I've lost count. I got stung in the face by bees. I blew myself up at the burn barrel out back. I have fallen in the river more times than I can count. And I have messed up time and time again. But what I'm able to do is to be able to pick myself up, brush myself off, and try it again. And I think, especially when it comes to homesteading, animal husbandry, growing things, it's so easy to lose yourself in the failures. I think it's very easy to lose yourself in the, I let a chicken die, I let it down, and I feel bad. Or I didn't weed my garden, forgot to water it for a weekend, I was away, whatever. And you fall into this issue that a lot of people don't like to talk about, and that is death. And man, I don't know if I can say this. I kill things. Sometimes professionally. And it's important to learn about death for everybody. I think as young kids, even our parents or our grandparents were taught the importance of slaughter day for chickens. It's a family affair where everybody gets together and kills the chickens, or everybody gets together and they have this day, right? I mean, that's what Thanksgiving is about. You come around a dead bird and then you eat it, right? You kill the turkey, eat the turkey. But somehow along the way, we've lost this familial idea that death is something that's normal. I think there's a lot of people, or a number of people, that preach the benefits of veganism, not as a diet, but as an ideology. And I think that people that live in that world are a little crazy. And it's not that anybody who's vegan is crazy, but I think people who live strictly by a singular ideology are get a little screw loose. And it's hard to talk to people when you're butting up against a brick wall. When every time you try to say, look, my body craves and needs protein to function. Me, and I think many men, I need protein. I need especially red meat to be able to function on a regular freaking basis. I need meat. If I don't have meat, I simply cannot function. And so there are people out there who are so entrenched in their ideologies and in their ideas that what they think is right, that they aren't making any sense for themselves or for other people. And I think what society, by and large, has done is that we have allowed those people to have a voice more than they should. And I think what it's somewhat like is when people say that we should never have gotten rid of bullying. I disagree. Bullying is bad to a certain extent. But we should be able to societally say when something is crazy, stupid, or just downright insane, because we are living in a time where people just throw around words like conspiracy theorist, like racist, like transphobe or homophobe, and you're living in a crazy world when those are the words you just so frivolously throw about, where you don't know that person. And what it comes down to in large part is you don't understand intent. If somebody has malicious intent, wants to hurt you, your family, your loved ones, your friends, okay, malicious intent is a bad thing. Inherently, malicious intent is bad. If you want to hurt somebody intentionally, it is bad. Whether it's with your words, whether it is with your actions, whatever. Whether you want to physically harm or maim somebody, that is bad. I mean, it's something that we see, if you believe in the Christian Bible, it's something you see throughout the Ten Commandments, throughout the Bible, that hurting people is bad, but not all the time. It's the maliciousness that is bad, and that's malignance. It is just badness in general. So in society, we have these people that have grown to only want an ideology or only want it their way. It's my way or the highway. And there's so many loud voices screaming, and there's so many of us, and I speak to them all the time, but a lot of people, especially online, are scared to talk about it, that we just don't give a shit. We don't care anymore about anything, really. Like, we care about our family and our friends and about entertainment and just like little things, but there's so much stuff online, especially, and people who are chronically online, just an issue, but so many of these issues that are brought up in society, whether it is we're using too much electricity, so you need to conserve electricity, but simultaneously you need to only go to electric home heating because wood heat is going to kill you. You need to move away from carbon emissions, so you need to have an electric vehicle, but we need to save electricity and save water. And it's just a confusing, like, what's going on in the world? It makes zero sense. And what people are fighting for oftentimes makes zero sense. That people don't know what they believe in and don't know why they believe it. And I think even somebody last week mentioned to me that things like we have a raised garden bed, but we also have an in-ground garden that we actually till. I know no-till is popular. Raised garden beds are popular, but they mentioned that a lot of people just have raised garden beds because they're pretty, and they don't necessarily want to admit that. They saw online or they saw somewhere that they should be having a raised garden bed, so they went out and they spent $200 on cedar wood to make this perfect, pretty little box and pretty little fence. But they don't understand why. And that's not everybody. Some people genuinely know why you would have a raised garden bed, to be able to protect it, to be able to really have a controlled climate. But a lot of people just want them because they're pretty. And I think that goes for a lot of things in society, that a lot of people just want certain things because they're pretty. It's nice to say that we're no longer killing the environment with our gas-guzzling vehicles, where in reality it is truckers who run the world. It is these massive corporations in other countries, not Canada or the US, that are causing ridiculous amounts of pollution. And we are seeing more and more that somehow it's my fault. Somehow it's my fault that it's now and if you're in the US and you're watching this, it's illegal now for companies to sell single-use plastics. Little plastic baggies, little sippy solo cup, little fucking straws, illegal. Which is weird, and I think it'll be something we get used to. Like we don't have a penny either. We don't have the penny, the 1 cent coin. Everything gets rounded up or rounded down for money. So it's weird to think that we are moving towards these things. Sure, it's gonna be a transition. But what's happening is we have so many people that are virtue signaling and that think that they know what's best, so that you must believe what they believe. You must feel what they feel. You must understand and have the same ideologies and priorities as they do. And that's not true. We're all different. We have different priorities, whether it's age-based, and we have my priority is my family, my priority is my community, whether it is whatever you have priorities in. You want to protect your animals. I want to protect my animals. That's a priority. It's not my number one priority. If I had to choose between protecting my family from a ravenous bear or protecting my birds or other animals from a ravenous bear, I'm going to choose my family. So it's not one or the other. But what we've wound up in society today is that you have to choose one or the other. You're one side or the other. You are left or you are right. You are for me or you are against me. Where in reality, the majority of us, we sit in the middle. And not that we sit on the fence, but we're somewhere in the middle where it's like we may not believe that is okay, whatever it is. But we're also questioning, why the heck is my plastic bag, when I live in a landlocked community, why is my plastic bag or my little sippy straw ending up in the ocean, and why is it my fault that that is happening? Riddle me this. And I know that's been said before, but like, why? Why is that my problem? With electric vehicles, great idea. I think electricity is awesome. You can generate it from hydroelectric. You can generate it from the sun. There's a lot of ways that you can generate electricity for electric vehicles. However, it becomes storage that is the issue. Batteries. It's something we're dealing with one to start a solar system. Is the power storage is the issue. You can generate power, whether it's kinetically, whether it's solar, whatever, wind. There's so many different ways to generate power. And there's many ways to store power, but the traditional ways is a battery. And the way that batteries are made and produced and for these vehicles are just not viable, especially into the future. We're expected, I think, as a country in Canada to have to no longer sell electric vehicles after 2030 or 2035. Or no longer sell gas-powered vehicles after 2035, which is insane. Because for years and years and years and years and years, we've used the combustion engine because it is the best and remains the best. If electricity worked and could charge on a dime like that, it would be great, but a combustion engine is the most efficient type of engine. Not the best type, but the most efficient type, because it is converting fossil fuels, it's converting gas. You could use ethanol if the government did have their little fingers wrapped all up in that ethanol production and distillation is illegal and bad, and they blame it on the prohibition or the moonshiners, but in reality it's just because they were making too much money from the oil industries, and people lobby for different things to change, and that is a problem. And I think it's a continued problem that we see here in society, that there are these massive names, these massive corporations, these peoples who are lobbying for things that should not be happening. They're lobbying for things that should not be allowed to happen either. And because they're the loudest, because they have the most money and they can get themselves face-to-face with people, I will trust you if I'm able to get face-to-face with you. So if you're able to get yourself face-to-face with dignitaries, with kings, with rulers, with prime ministers, of course they're going to believe you. They're going to trust you. Because most of these people who have grown these massive companies are charismatic and they know how to sell. They're salesmen, and that's fine for their business, but when it comes to you and me and how we're able to do things, how we're able to do business, what we're able to have, what we're able to say or dictate, becomes fascism and dictatorship. And though I don't throw those words out there lightly, but it's something that we are starting to deal with, especially here in Canada, but also throughout the United States, that we're asking ourselves, are our government officials making the best decisions for us? Are they? Do you believe so? I have friends who are politicians, so it's an iffy thing for me to say this. But I have friends that are good politicians, that are good at their job, that are genuinely good people. So, are all politicians doing a good job? Are any? And I think especially at the higher levels, when you are ruling a country, when you're responsible for millions of people, it gets complicated. And I think you kind of get your lines crossed and you get your ideologies crossed. And the things that you put into place, the laws that you put into place, the things that you're allowed to say or allowed to do or allowed to have becomes an issue. And when you have the backing of making it legal, there's nothing the rest of us can do about it. And that's sad, because we, the people, want change, I think, for the most part. And we, the people, aren't getting it.